completely machinima. And now for something completely machinima. And now for something completely machinima.
Hello and welcome to And Now for Something Completely Machinima, the podcast about machinima, virtual production, and related technologies. My name's Phil Rice, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Tracy Harwood and
Hello.
Damien Valentine. So this week we're talking about my film pick. This is one I'd kind of hoped Ricky would be here for because he's probably the biggest Half-Life nut of us all. But it's an interesting and very different type of video that we're looking at because it's not really, it's, I don't want to say it's not a narrative video because I guess it is, but the narrative doesn't come from the video. The narrative comes from what's being played. Now, we've seen Half-Life, or we're at least familiar with Half-Life generally, even if all of us haven't played it. I have many times. But Half-Life, the original movie or the original game, has kind of this famous ending where, okay, so you're Gordon Freeman and you've gone through this whole adventure, and there's this mysterious the G-Man figure who no one will ever convince me is not just the cigarette smoking man from the X-Files. It's the same guy. I don't care what you say. It's him. So he is this mysterious figure that seems to be able to kind of move freely between these worlds and realms and knows way more than anybody and all of that. And at the end of the Half-Life game, you are in this face-to-face confrontation with him where he actually asks you to join him in whatever it is he's up to, or you can go off and into this through this portal into this realm and face you're a grisly death. And it does actually give you that choice in the game, but if for whatever reason you choose to not join the G-Man, you do indeed go through a portal and into a place, and then there's this impossible scenario, kind of like what it reminds me of is the end of the first third of the original Doom. This is the Doom that was released as a shareware game in the early 90s. It's the first 9 levels or so. And at the end of the 9th level, you teleport into this place that is just surrounded by just this horde of monsters that no matter what your weaponry, no matter how fast you move, whatever, you're just obliterated. There's just no way, and there's no way out of it.
So even if you're using the cheats, you still can't survive it.
Yeah. They've set it up to where it's just not possible to survive it. When you get the full version of the game, then chapter 2, you start out on the next moon of Mars and you're fine. So I don't know if it's like in the cartoons where the coyote gets smashed by a boulder and then he's fine in the next scene, but it's that type of thing, right? So Half-Life had a similar thing if you chose not to go with the G-Man, which would then take you presumably into the next leg of the story in the next game. Then you would go into this room, this impossible room, and you'd get slaughtered, right? So somebody decided, what if we made it to where that wasn't an impossible scenario, just a really hard scenario? And so they made a mod that basically starts telling the story from that point of you going through that portal, and it looks just like the real end of the game, but there's a way through it. And it's quite extensive. the additional gameplay, additional areas. At times, without the visual look of the backrooms, it feels like kind of like the backrooms in a way that you're like
Mm.
you feel like you're kind of behind the scenes of what's going on in other parts of the game world, and you're weaving in and out of these different areas. And I just found that fascinating that somebody would basically do a mod that essentially is fan fiction that extends this dead end of the game into something that's playable and enjoyable. So my video, which is called Surviving the Bad Ending of Half-Life, is somebody basically playing through that. So really, this is more about the. I'm intrigued by the mod and the concept of doing that, of extending. We've seen fan fiction countless times in all different sorts of games where maybe it takes a tangent from the original story, or it tells the original story, or weaves into the original story. But this is one where that was a dead end, and now they've added some new thing onto it, a new challenge to work your way through. And just a free fan project that just somebody made. And the amount of detail, like it looks like an authentic Half-Life. Like it look, if someone told you, hey, this was designed by the same people who made Half-Life, you wouldn't be surprised. But it's not. It's just a user mod. So that's just fascinating to me, and that it's so let me see if I can figure out. I didn't check to see when this was made. Okay, released 2019. So what, 15 or no, more than that. More than 15 years after the original game was released.
About 20. It
Yeah,
was 99, the original game was
99.
released.
Okay. Because it was originally like, wasn't it? It was Quake Engine, wasn't it? Or Quake 2? One of those id Software
Heavily
engines. Really.
modified Quake, yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting on a number of levels. First of all, just the whole concept of someone doing that, but also the fact that this world, this story world that was created by Valve for Half-Life, the endurance that it has, the persistence. Um, you know, Many people marvel at Minecraft for the length of time that the game has stayed actively used, heavily actively used and relevant. And it does all that with no story whatsoever. It's just gameplay on that. This is a story that I think enchanted the world of people who play video games. It was as rich as any Hollywood movie, even though it was made in a very primitive engine at the time. The next installation of Half-Life, Half-Life 2, caught attention for a different reason, because it was not only, again, extension of this amazing story, but then visual fidelity and gameplay that was really interesting. All these offshoots of Half-Life that have happened in terms of additional expansion packs or adjacent games like Portal that still feels like that world as well. Team Fortress 2 doesn't really feel like that same world, but that is ultimately was an offshoot of Half-Life. Counter-Strike, I don't know if people still play Counter-Strike, but that was
Oh, they
huge
do.
for
And Left 4 Dead
many,
as
many,
well.
many, many years. Yeah. So it's quite a phenomenon. And now there's talk, although I don't know whether to believe any of it, but there is talk that Half-Life 3 may actually really happen.
Mm.
By the time this goes out, you'll have an answer to that, because the rumor is it's going to be announced during the Video Game Awards, which is on the 11th of December.
Okay,
So by the
that's the
time
buzz that I've been hearing about. Yeah, is
Uh,
you
people
just
are,
never know with Valve, you never know.
I think people are hopeful because Valve have just announced a load of new hardware, including the Steam Machine, which is basically a cube, like sort of that
Right.
big.
mm.
And it's basically a PC you can play games on using Steam OS rather than Windows, and you can plug it into your TV.
Are they
And
speculating that Half-Life 3 might be like the flagship game to go with that new hardware?
yeah,
That would be a smart move.
it would.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if they don't do it, which would be a shame for Half-Life fans, but if they don't do it, they still don't need it, because you've got the entire Steam library
Yeah.
available to you.
Right. Anyway,
Mm.
so I don't know. I know that this would be something that Ricky would have just been tickled to death to see. But I don't know what you guys' level of engagement with Half-Life has been, or if it's at all interesting. But what did you guys think of it?
So I played the original Half-Life when it was released, and I really enjoyed the game. I can't say I wasn't heavily invested in like the world of it. I really enjoyed the game, and I got this ending, and I got really frustrated with it and quit, which I didn't realize that was the point. Um, and back then the internet was very small. There weren't these communities. There were internet communities about various games, but there was no one out there to say, "Yeah, that's not the ending you should have picked. You're supposed to go with a G-Man, if you want the real ending for the game." So I didn't do that. I didn't actually know that was a thing until I watched this video.
Yeah, it's great.
So now, after all this time, I finally understand why I was so frustrated with the ending of the game.
Mhm.
Well, from my point of view, I think what's fascinating about this, I mean, obviously I know, yeah, what I know about Half-Life, you can put on a postage stamp by compared to what you guys know. But the bit that absolutely fascinates me is that we're not just now talking about a creator community that sort of is invested in the game and builds on it. But we're actually talking about a community that extends that gameplay and shares it with others through the mods. And I guess a question that I might ask you guys is when this new hardware comes out, will these mods that this fan community has put so much effort into making, will that still work on the new hardware?
Yeah, it
It
will.
will.
So SteamOS is the same operating system that works on the Steam Deck, which has been available for 3 years now. And any game that's moddable, you can play on the Steam Deck. The mods apply to that, especially if they're released through the Steam Workshop.
Right.
Um, you subscribe when you look at browsing the mod workshop for whatever game, and you browse and subscribe to whichever mods you want. They'll automatically get installed to the game, and that's whether you're playing on your PC or on your Steam Deck, it's all done automatically. Um, and they'll be downloaded, and then it'll be exactly the same on the Steam machine. It will. So even if you've got a game like Half-Life and you've heavily modified it and you've got a whole list of mods installed, as soon as you set up your Steam Deck and you log in for the first time, you download the game. All those mods that you've subscribed to will be included in that download. So you don't even have
Uh,
to do anything other than say you want to download that game.
And my understanding of that too is that that does not just apply to Valve's own Source Engine games,
Yeah, that's for
but
any
really
game.
uh,
any game that has gone through the process of properly registering those mods and delivering them through the Steam Workshop, that's all part of that. It's a brilliant, brilliant move on Valve's part to
mm,
support that. So that
mm.
means that games made by Bethesda that are heavily modded, like Fallout, for example, or Project Zomboid for that matter, that any games that are delivering their mods that way, my understanding is that that's true for them too, which is
And
really smart.
and for games that don't use the Steam Workshop but still have big mod communities, you can still download those mods and install them manually the same way that or whatever the process is to
Mm,
install them.
mm.
You just have
On Steam
a slightly
OS, you
more,
mean?
yeah, because you have the
Okay, I didn't
desktop
know
mode.
that. I have not used it. Okay, that's good
Okay,
to
so
know.
you've got the main interface, which looks like a game console, like an Xbox or PlayStation, where you just have big posters for the games and you click what you're going to play. But there's desktop mode, which is basically a desktop
Ah,
version of Linux that you can just
brilliant.
go into, and it's a full PC experience if you want that. So the Steam machine will have that too, so you can do that.
Mm. And am I right in saying that these are free? These mods are free.
Yeah,
So what's the incentive then? I mean, it's not like the creator community that gets a share of ad revenue from views, say, if they get enough. What's the incentive here for the
fun.
creators?
They just
Just the
like having
fun.
fun. Yeah,
Just the
it,
fun of it.
fun, love of the game,
Mm,
making something for the community.
hmm
Some, I think some mod creators have like a donate button where you can
mm.
Patreon or
Yeah, a lot of private donation channels for stuff like that.
yeah.
Certain modding communities outside of Steam, they've set up a monetized platform where the site itself generates ad revenue, and they
Mm.
share it with the creators based on download stats. CurseForge is one of them, which is mostly Minecraft stuff. There are little communities out there like that do that, and it's a pretty decent stream, but most of them it's private donations. Yeah.
That's
I'm sure
fascinating.
some people who do this kind of work, some of them do it for the same reason that some of the Machinima VIPs from the Lost Boys and Girls back in the day, right?
Yeah.
They were doing it knowingly, hoping that it would be able to be effectively a resume item to get them work in this industry that they loved. You know, I know for a fact that at least some of the people who were doing it knowing that that was a possibility, hoping it was. And
Mm.
for modders, even more so, like to have the skills of someone like, Paul Marino or Michelle or something where it's cinematic storytelling, that's a pretty small portion of
Mm.
the video game community. There's a relatively few, comparatively few amount of jobs that are that specific skill set. But this, which involves often programming
Mm.
and packaging of the things and modeling and texturing and all those skills. Yeah, someone who can demonstrate that, not just say it on a piece of paper, that's got to be a huge advantage in a fiercely competitive
Mm.
job market. You know,
And
Mm.
isn't this version of the mod for the they remade Half-Life in the Source engine? Because this is not the original version of the game. If you look at the textures of it,
oh no, no, yeah, this is for the remade. Yeah,
right? So we know from just looking at Machinima, the Source engine is an incredibly complicated platform to use.
Mm.
yes,
So they,
it's a big flex
yeah,
to be able to do this. Yeah,
yeah,
a lot of overlapping skills, including some that would be useful for machinima as well. But
Mm.
there's modding is that's some pretty big brain stuff going on there.
yeah,
It's pretty neat.
yeah. Some
And yeah,
game,
the fact that so many people do that for, let's face it, for what's the diplomatic way to say this? Less than full-time income?
yeah,
Yeah, quite.
If they have anything coming in at all, it's a pittance compared to, what full-time work in this market would be, and yet they do it. And that's been going on for decades.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
People
the bit that
do
strikes
that.
me that's the interesting bit here is, we all know what the visibility reward is for those that do the film side of it. But for these guys, they're almost hidden in the process. Almost, you kind of use it, but they're never top of what you see at the end of it. It's
Well,
just well, it's just, I mean, it's a mod, and knowing that somebody's going to get some enjoyment out of having played the mod.
that's basically it.
Yeah, it's great.
Back when Command and Conquer Red Alert was released, which is a long time ago now, it's about 3 decades.
Long time ago.
Yeah, it was
Love that game.
me too. But it included on the disc a map editor, so you could build your own maps. And there were some very small GeoCities websites where you could upload your maps for other Command and Conquer fans to download. So I did that. I made a few maps, and I kind of wish I still had them to see if they work with the remastered version of the game.
Right.
And it was just something fun to do to create some new environments to play in.
Mm.
Sure.
And I'd download other people's, and then people downloaded mine because they had a little counter, and I can't remember how many got. Not that many. I think maybe 100 or something like that.
Sure.
It was just fun. I didn't expect.
Which was no small deal back then.
Mm.
No, I think I was about
In the world of GeoCities, 100 downloads was like, yes.
yeah, and I must have been about what 12 years old.
Uh-huh.
So for a 12-year-old, seeing that 100 people that downloaded that map I spent an afternoon creating, that was huge.
Yeah.
But
I did that. I did that for the original Doom and Doom 2 as well. Made some
yeah,
maps and learned a little bit about how modding worked and stuff. And yeah, without money in mind at all. It was just this will be fun, and I bet other people will think this is fun.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's like when we went to the New York Machinima Film Festival, we were all there in that museum, and it wasn't about money. It was just we all make the stuff, we all like sharing it with each other, and we're having a
Yep.
great time meeting each other. It was the same thing with the mods. It's like
Mm.
I made this thing. I'm going to share it with the rest of you, and I'm going to enjoy the stuff that you're sharing. It was the same kind of mentality behind it.
But this has been played tens of thousands of times, right?
Yeah, so they've done a bit more than my Command and Conquer maps.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, because the ending of it is so much more uplifting than what you explained as the actual end of the game, Phil. I think
Hmm.
it's it is a lot of fun. And you can see why people would want to play it because it does leave you on a bit more of a high.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a really interesting pick. And I really like it. And you have another pick as well, don't you,
Well,
this week?
somebody put this on here. I'm not sure if it was
Oh, wasn't it you?
was it Damien? Did you
No, it
pop
wasn't me.
this?
It
Okay, so
wasn't.
Oh,
some
It might have been
so
Ricky
somebody
then.
put this, but yeah, we'll include a link to this as well. I'm not going to do a full review of
oh,
it,
it
but
might have been me, you know.
it might have been you. But Ryan Gosling in Half-Life 2, and it's one of these kind of and we've covered content of this type at various times. But this it's one of these. It's a compositing masterpiece of scenes of Ryan Gosling from I think mostly from the movie Drive,
Oh,
Yeah.
wouldn't know.
um, if not all. Really good movie, by the way. Even better book. But scenes from that, overlaid with goings on in Half-Life 2, and it's fun.
It's really well done too. That
Yeah,
shot from above where he's beating someone up, but the shot of the game of the person being beaten up perfectly matches each punch.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a huge amount of work to go into that because you can't change the Ryan Gosling footage.
It
Um,
reminds me a lot of the you found an example of one of these a few months back where it was Red Dead Redemption 2. I think it was John Wick.
yeah, that was it.
John Wick and Red Dead Redemption
Oh,
2. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of thing where there's just some really careful timing and coordination and lighting, a lot of
Mm.
attention to that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a fun little thing. So we'll include that as well.
But this is not modded.
That might
No,
have
this
been a
is
little bit for the some of the cutscenes, like that punching bit I was talking about. They might have had to time the punching, modify the animation or something, but I don't know. I don't know the
yeah. I
game
don't
well
I don't
enough
know
to.
what I don't know what as far as like what machinima elements were this of manipulating the game and stuff that I'm not sure about.
No.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, two really interesting films for slightly different reasons, I think,
Yeah.
Phil. Slightly out of my depth commenting though, because obviously I don't play it, but I can see where you were going with it, and I think it's a fascinating way of extending the gameplay for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, audience, what did you think? Let us know in the comments wherever you're watching or listening to this, or drop us an email at talk@completelymachinima.com. My name's Phil Rice, and on behalf of my co-hosts, Damien Valentine and Tracy Harwood, we will see you next time.
Hey.
Bye bye.